Hi, welcome everybody. Thanks for viewing this video. Today's topic talking about the global climate change. As you know, climate change refers to the long-term shift in temperatures and weather patterns. This shift may be natural, and the shifts may be anthropogenic. But since 18 human activities have been made driver of the climate change, which means that the human are the main causes of the climate change, primarily due to the burning of fossil fuels like coal, oil, and gases, which produces heat. Okay, then we're gonna we're gonna proceed here and look at the questions and the question that what is a climate change and what is global warming and what evidence is there to show that climate change is happening and what makes climate change moral issues. We're going to talk about the climate change. Mm, Climate change is one of the most serious environmental problems we are faced with. It is also very challenging and complex, several decades to build climate models that could effectively predict. Here, this is the definition of climate. Then we're gonna look at what are the climate models. We have climate models that comes in the different forms. Is an extension weather forecasting focuses on the over decade rather than hours. Okay, back to the climate definition. As you see the definition and the what is climate. In other words, climate change include major changes um, in temperature precipitations among that affect our on the occurrence. Sorry here. Okay, then after we're gonna look at the definition again. On the continuing slide, global warming refers to the recently cause rise in global average temperature near Earth's surface. It is caused mostly by increasing of greenhouse gases. As you know, the greenhouse gases, which is carbon dioxide and methane, and the other, which is nitrogen. All these gases also deplete the ozone layer. However, global warming itself represents only aspect of climate change. And then we have to look at the evidence of global climate change. As you know that there is a global climate change, but you wouldn't know that what is the cause of the global climate change and what is the evidence that shows there is a global climate change in the world or in the area that we lived. Okay, then according to the United States Environmental Protection Agency of Earth is warming. Global warming is a prolonged period of hot in uneven temperatures like this season. It must be cold, but it is not cold. There is high rainfall, heavy rainfall. There is hot sun. There is lots of drought instead. This is how we call it a global warming. Okay, then small changes in the average temperatures of the planet can translate to large and potentially dangerous a shift. Okay, their rising global temperatures have been accompanied by changes in weather and climate. Many places have been changes in rainfall. For example, in South Africa, KwaZulu-Natal, in Durban, there is a lot of flood. This floods are caused by the climate change, which is uh, cause the global warming to be uneven, and this may affect for the whole city in the Durban. There are lots of floods, and when it is hot, it hot too much in such a way that there will be more drought again. Global warming also cause um, severe drought, and it also cause the the drought, a prolonged period uh, with no sun, or prolong a period of heavy rainfall. The planet's oceans and glaciers, when we talk about the glaciers, we talk about the ices and the Antarctic areas where the ice is also melting. That is to talk about the glaciers, have also experienced some big changes. Oceans warming and becoming more acidic. Ice caps are melting, and the sea level also rise due to the ices of the glaciers at the Atlantic Ocean. I mean, at the Atlantic areas, um, mostly in the north and the south poles. This is where the Atlantic areas is located. This is Atlantic areas are located in the way that the sun is not is deficit there. There is no water, there is no warm, or there is no much hot or high temperatures. As you know that uh, Earth also experiencing more sun or more sun rays or high temperatures along the equatorial regions, but here at the glaciers there is no such. As these other changes become more pronounced in the money in the coming decade, and they will likely to present challenges to our society. Okay, when we can processes of once covered areas that are semi-desert today, areas previously um, buried under thick layers. This is what I'm talking about. Climate change is a distinctive reason. It is anthropogenic cause, which are the human cause, and it causes the high greenhouse gases, which is a greenhouse gases emission, and it is occurring extremely rapidly. What are the greenhouse gases comes from? The greenhouse gases comes from, as it's mentioned on the above page, that greenhouse gases are coming from in different industries, factories, and even the deforestation is the one of the cause of the greenhouse gases, since we know that plants are natural, trees are releasing some of the carbon dioxide when it is cut off. Okay, we can proceed. You can ask yourself how you can ask yourself, okay, we can go to that, how have a human being contribute in emission of greenhouse gases. We all know over past century human activities have released large amount of carbon dioxide and other greenhouse gases in the atmosphere. The majority of greenhouse gases comes from burning fossil fuels to produce energy, gas fueling. Burning of fossil, we know that mostly the the emission of burning of fossil fuels comes from the power stations where the electricity is generated. It comes from the industries, factories where iron is made on all the all these manufacturing companies that are producing or that need are producing gases, smoke that cause air pollution. There are um, many causes of this, such as deforestation, industries, processes, some agricultural practices, transportation. When you talk about transportation, you talk about the cars that uses unleaded gasoline or that uses unleaded petrol. These are the one and the main causes of the global climate change, and the power station, the burning of fossil fuels, and the burning of tires, such as mostly we know that tires are not recyclable. So as tires are not recyclable, some of the people they burn these tires, and these tires are producing a large amount of carbon, which is dangerous. Greenhouse gases act like a blanket around Earth, trapping energy in the atmosphere and causing it to warm. Like as I said, this phenomenon is called greenhouse effect, and it's naturally necessary to transport life on Earth. However, the buildup of greenhouse gases can change this climate. The choices we make today will affect some, yeah, will affect the greenhouse gases that is put in the atmosphere. Climate change affects everyone on in the global world. Our lives are connected to the climate. As we know, our life is dependent on the weather. We get rain that produces water, and the human societies have adapted to the relative stable climate we have been enjoyed since the last ice age. Okay, a warming climate will bring changes that can affect our water supplies. Uh, Climate change also caused by the factories which produces the smoke that depletes ozone, the ozone that becomes pores or make porosity in the ozone layer and make sun rays to strike direct. As we know that sun produces um, dangerous infrared rays. All those rays are not trapped by the ozone layer. Uh, Carbon dioxide can stay. Carbon dioxide can stay, and the greater the risk for more severe changes to this system. Okay, we can reduce the effect of climate change by taking now in order to reduce greenhouse gases emission. Question: can I ask what action step can you, as a result of an individual, take at home, at school, at universities, offices, etc., to reduce this emission of greenhouse gases? The moral changes of the climate change. Question: who is morally responsible for this climate change? We all responsible for this change because, as is mentioned above, that global will also affect every one of us. It affects all of us. Global climate changes. Okay. The intensive level anthropogenic climate change is a moral issue. It raises harm as well as question about the distribution of burdens, preventing and distributing harm. Climate change is harming humans and other living organisms in the world or in the ecosystem. Although there are disagreements on how to apportion moral responsibilities for this phenomenon. Okay, then people are grappling with the right issue of fair distribution of burden, and you can ask them the moral questions, uh, that who is morally responsible for climate change and what does this responsible require in response, on the next, and how we should distribute the burden of reducing these emissions. Third question, which countries should make biggest cuts and why? Should the less developed nations can be contribute along the fossil fuels and their industrial counterparts? Then on the next video, we're gonna explain, we're gonna answer this question. Thank you.